Welcome to the Erect Posture presentation. I'm actually grateful and overjoyed at this opportunity. I've been planning this for so many years that the day that I'm waking up to do more than one, it's really, I didn't know how much fun it would be. This is being fun to me, okay? I hope I'm educating you. I hope you're learning. I hope you find it useful. I hope you find it useful and you share it with someone, okay? Share. If you understand it and if it makes sense to you, share it. This is a new exercise system. It's an exercise system where the only goal is to sit, and that's good for your health. The negative is the press is full of sitting. It's bad for your health, okay? Now I'm trying to show you how to make sitting good for your health. Make it an exercise. Exercise. Make yourself good at sitting up straight. Benefit your body by sitting up straight. Okay, here we go. This is number 5 of 1. This means we're still where I'm instructing heavily. And so there's instructions here and at the same time, information. Erect posture is healthy due to the lack of joints being held at a limit of their range of motion. Gravity's injury to tissue occurs at sites of habitual compression and its complement, stretch or tension. The injuries increase with age as gravity's increased mechanical advantage stretches the injured joints or tissues. Okay, my name is Gwen, Dr. Gwen. Okay, this is the erect posture and the logos are there. Okay, copyrighted material shared generously. What I just said is that the beauty of erect posture, the healthy part of erect posture, is that no joint in the joints that support the body in gravity is at its range of motion, because that's where injury happens. Injury happens where a joint or a tissue or a structure is leaning and taking on gravity other than erect. And the injury occurs where the gravity gets the best hold. Okay? And so those are erect postures because in those joints, because no joint is at the end of its range of motion. All the tissue, I look at 2-3 places, so sometimes I'm pointing at dumb places, but all these tissues right here are hard tissue, disc, and the shape of the disc is dictating the curves. Those curves are written in bone. We've said that over and over again. That's so that you don't come up with my spine is different from everybody else. Your spine is manifesting differently, but it started off the same. It was a human spine, or you had a birth defect. Okay. Now, when I keep talking about mechanical advantage, I want to show you mechanical advantage. The example here is a wine bottle. And so what you do with the wine bottle is get yourself one and then just let it move out to the horizon and feel how that gets heavier and harder to control. And especially if you have old arthritic hands, it's almost impossible. Okay? But that's when you're holding your body plumb with gravity, you have a balancing act. That's the reason I practice you and sort of balance. Play with your balance, because that's erect posture. That's posture being maintained. It's a balancing act, okay? But once it starts coming out on the horizon, it becomes work. You're going to have to resist that, because now gravity is getting its advantage, a mechanical advantage. And the longer that is, the worse that gets to be. Right? For less weight, if it's long, it's more effective. That's the reason tall people have a harder time with poor posture than short people. You want to get your bottle and experience that. Don't let me tell you anything. This is a learning event. Okay? Go out after you get through today, sometime tomorrow, sometimes. Try something like that. Something with a long handle and a weight. It could be a mop. That's really effective. But very few of us as long as a mop. But something that has some weight, and feel how when it comes out, that's the reason the leaning tower piece is so much work to keep it erect, because it gave gravity an advantage. You build your old shack like that, baby, and your old shack is going to fall. Well, these are shacks. These old bodies are strung out there and acting like it doesn't matter. It's why we hurt so bad. It's why we hurt so bad. It's mechanically wrong. This is erect. Gravity is going through the structures it was designed to go through. This is sitting poorly. This is how most people are sitting when they're like this, okay? When you see that, know that anything on this side of the disc, of the vertebra, because the rotation is happening here, anything side has a good chance of being in compression. And anything on this side is being stretched. Both of them are damaging. Which one damages the fastest, the furthest, the most? I don't know. It's the setting. But the damage is stretch on one side, compression on the other. They're complements. They're not antagonists. They're complements. If you want to get the compression off, when you do exercise, there's only one thing that works. Muscles only contract. So this is the only side that can correct you. Nothing you do over on this side can correct you, but tightening muscles on this side will correct you out of your error. I mean, that's how it is anytime. Anytime you want to find out, you're doing this in another area, it has nothing to do with this, okay? Then if you got an area that's compressed, don't go to that one for action. Go to the stretch side and contract those muscles, and they'll bring you back to plumb. They are complements. They always spoke of the agonist is the one who's doing the job, and the antagonist is the one that reverses it. And it makes it sound like there's a contest. And so when I'm using it in that term, I will say this is the agonist because it pulls it this way. This is the antagonist on this side. But when I'm trying to correct, I say this is the complement of that muscle. That muscle's in trouble. This muscle or that area is in trouble. This area is the complement. It will, by tightening, relax that. So here we go. On this side, we can see the stretch happening. On that side of the disc, you can see the compression happening. The compression happens everything on this side, including the gut, the lungs, everything is getting compressed on that side. And on this side, the body is withstanding that with ligaments. These ligaments are getting strained. We have a lot of ligaments back here to support this joint, because there are even ligaments surrounding these joints that are happening between each vertebra. There are lots of ligaments over here to support this thing, but the injury is happening in here in the stretch. On this side of the disc, compression is happening here, which is stretching this side. Stretch and compression. Again, we're just showing the same thing. There's gravity coming through there, stretching, compressing in the back, stretching here. The correction of that then is alignment with gravity. You can see the destruction in it, right? Here's the correction. Teach the muscles to just hold you there. Don't go to the other side, loading up. We don't want to find out what happens. You don't want to find out when you go too far the other way. I mean, why exchange bad for what you don't know? Go for erect. Get the body plumb. Get the body plumb with gravity. That's the correction. One will hurt, one will not. Here's again another where you don't even see the stretch, okay? This comes in where I was telling you if you sit and you the thighs on the chair, and yet you're going to pretend that you can sit upright. Well, look, this is the pelvis. These are the ischial tuberosities. This is the pelvis. This is the sacrum. The sacrum is part of the spine, and it's part of the pelvis, okay? It's fused spinal joints, and it gives the site of origin for the rest of the spine. but it's anchored inside the pelvis bone. Okay, it's anchored inside the iliums. Okay, and there's a joint inside this space. This is front, that's back. There's a joint in there, and then there are ligaments in there. So there's supposed to be a little bit of movement there. But now, if you're leaning out like this all the time, right, then what happens is you put these ligaments in strain, and now this gets loose. Now you got a joint that wasn't supposed to be loose because it was wider in the front, narrow in the back. Therefore, leaning forward can pull that forward, weaken those ligaments, and make the whole thing sort of lean out of there. And now you need I've needed. You need shots in this space because the pain is there. The pain is there. Okay. And so when you sit lower, there's more strain. If you decide to sit like that, there's going to be more strain on this, and especially if you lean out on the elbow or something like that, there's going to be more strain that the closer you get to upright. When you're here, gravity is coming straight down, joints intended. All here, it's beginning to load up. Gravity is getting to load more and more weight on more and more joints, more severely. And time is not your friend. Gravity was there when you got here. It's going to be there when you go, and it will take advantage of whatever you give it. You know, it will tear these joints up and never think about it because that isn't its job. It was your job to think about your It's its job to take what you give it. Okay. Now I want you to start looking at people, and when you see someone sitting like that, see what you see. You see joints and disc and everything in there taken up. You can see his lung space because his chest is down in here, and he's not as bad as some, but his chest is down here. He's compressing up in this area. He's stretching out here. You start seeing it. And then if they get up and they tell you about their back pain, or if they want to know why they're getting thick in their waist, it's what you presenting. You're giving gravity that kind of weapon. You're giving gravity a weapon to beat you over the head with. So it's the chair. We got to choose the chair. That was one of the first things I heard from teachers that were teaching us about. They said that the reason we were sitting up poorly was because our chairs were too short. And it's the chair. You got to find the chair, or you got to learn how to sit on the chair. And so that's our base. You're going to take a chair where you can get your knees to be just lower than your hips. That's your real goal. You want to sit on the edge of the seat with your knees lower than your hip, and make sure you're on your point. Pay attention to your contact point. You want to know where your ischial tuberosities are. You want to memorize that. You want to memorize as a feeling. What it means is you got to write protein so that your body knows that that's what you want. That's why it takes a little while. It takes a little time. Okay. After you do that, you have to establish your bowl. Level your bowl. And by now, you're beginning to know your bowl. Get your bowl level. Get in the position where there's neither dumping, your gut is not dumping, the lumbar curve is not increased, and the anterior pelvis is not just leaning forward. You're not rocking forward. You're now not tucking back. You're not trapping your guts. You're not flattening your curve. You found out how to find the balance in between them. Establish that. Get so you know that. That's what you practice when you walk. When you walk, you don't know, because you're on your feet now. The only way for you this to translate is for you to get to know what your body feels like when the whole thing is established. And then when you walk, you hold the whole thing established. You walk slowly if it takes it. Walk like you want to. Don't have to do any strange waving of the arms because the shoulders are not involved. It's the rib cage that's involved. Fire up your core. That means get real good at holding tone. You want your corset on. When you are contracting all the muscles at the same time, the muscles of the This is rectus abdominis. I didn't know it was out of field. For some reason, it's out of field focus. But here's rectus abdominis down here in the front. It's this muscle right here, the one that makes the ripples. But attached to it are all the other muscles. And one of them goes from front to back, up, down. My sister taught me how to remember this. This is external oblique, right? Like you're putting your hands in the pocket. I couldn't remember that. I have a hard time remembering things. But this is external oblique. Internal oblique will turn it the other way. So they go that from the back up, so that you can't put your hand in your pocket. It's up that way somewhere. And then after that, there's the transversalis. And there are a lot of studies that are saying, unless the transversalis is engaged, you didn't engage everything. And I see why. I think it gets its origin in here, and it gets its origin attached to, so it attaches to all of them, although I'm not sure that all of them don't. And so all of these light up, which are the erector spinae, and the quadratus lumborum. These muscles, erector, and the deep intrinsic. There's some muscles down in here that are also spinal muscles. They just go between vertebra to vertebra. All of these engage. I think of these, the erector spinae, as more of rib cage shapers. And I think of these as spinal rods. When you want to make that spine stiff so it can be an ankle, it happens deep to the muscles that just go between vertebra to vertebra. But the vertebra to ribs, they erect the spinae, but the spine erects from these deep ones, and the rib cage gets shaped by those. That's how I feel about it. Your once you get that area to work, you get that rib cage to start changing its form. Okay, but there's the corset. When you buy a corset to get your waist right, you're just trying to mimic that. But the body is there. You got a corset. Activate your corset. That's what you do when you pull in on the stomach. You can feel that corset going tight. Okay. The breath again. You want to learn that position though. This position right here. This position is where you can hold it. You're holding your stomach flat back, but not as hard as you can. But you're holding it so you can breathe, but you're not letting that bad boy slip out from under there. That's the discipline. That's the discipline that I'm doing, that you're encouraging me to do. I can't allow myself to become a dumpling while sitting here talking to you about correcting your posture. I gotta hold on to this. To show you what I mean by the dumpling, that's the dumpling. And this is what you want to maintain. And you can get, so this becomes more and more a habit. That's the beautiful thing of me working with you. It's becoming my habit. Make room for the heart. That's widen here, widen here. Just to practice it, go into a slump, just like I did. Just go into a slump. And now, go through all the stages. Get on your ischial tuberosity, get into, if you have to rock it, get your pelvic bowl, and then pull this in and feel your body erect. Feel the start of erection, of everything getting erect, and then widen your chest. You can feel all of it happen. There it is. There it is. You can just come out of a roll. You wide here, you wide here. You did it. Okay? That's what I do when I find myself slumping. And I'm going to slump, but not in front of you. That's the reason it's good to be here. But it's fun to learn how to just bring yourself out of it. When you find yourself wrong, just do it. You're trying to make it into habit. It's about this becoming a habit. Repeat. Feel your collar. Every time you go from slump to thing, you feel your collar established. Don't do it as a habit of dropping and come back, dropping and come back. But it is a good time to practice that so you feel what it feels like to be in that column. Feel the difference. Feel the difference. But don't. One of the problems of going in and out, is that you soon get the attitude is, how hard can I do it? And it's not that kind of muscle. It's that kind of muscle. Where all you're doing is trying to be sure you're holding it. The next thing is get that windpipe back. Take the head back. And let the head drop on its own. Feel when you go back, feel that chest rise. Now, once you're there, it's time to go to the next one, which is just let your head drift back down. Just let your eyes find their place. Don't do anything. Not your job. It's a reflex's job. Your job is to hold everything else and let the reflex take care of the rest of it. Then go for the crown. Then lift the crown. Now in this one, I'm not going to do this over and over. This is all elementary school. But become a soft flame. I wanted you to see how weak that flame was. That's a little yellow flame. I've seen yellow flame, but they don't look like that. But that's okay. That's my flame. Your body, the energy, is like a flame, a soft flame, not that jet blue. It's a soft flame. And it flickers a bit in the wind because without you having any knowledge of it, there's enough wind there to make that flame dance. And become the soft flame. And just let your body float on the breeze. Go inside and feel, make sure your ribs are wide. You're on your ischial tuberosity. Your waist is nice. A little tighter if you can. Just a little tight. That's the one place you can fire it up. Then the neck is back so that you put your ears over your shoulder. And your head, you can actually feel it. It's behind your body as you let your head drop down position. Your shoulders are relaxed down too. Just let them relax and hang. Everybody think erecting posture, or one of the errors that's made is think that you erect posture by getting your shoulders in the right place. Your shoulders are in the wrong place, but while you're getting your rib cage right, it's enough to get your shoulders in the right place. Don't put in any energy in slamming your shoulder blades back, because there is a possibility of making that area too flat, working with the shoulder blades. So it's just widen the chest. Get the rib cage open. Get the ears over the shoulders. Let reflexes decide where your eyes go. And then you lift up like a flame. Thank you for coming. Please share the site with family and friends. You know, I want it to grow. I want it to grow. I want it to become common knowledge. This is what it seems to me we needed to know. I'm sharing it because I think anybody at 50 who's retiring, baby, you're about to take a seat. You better learn how to sit upright. You can look better. You can make yourself look better than when you left work. Right? And you can do it in your home. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do it while walking, because that's what I did. I walked for a while. For a while, I walked as much as 7 miles a day. I had it on my phone. I was doing 7 miles a day. And all the time, I was walking slowly. Everybody else is out passing me. Hey, you go right ahead. I'm not on speed. I'm on erect. Put yourself on erect time. Get your body. Please share this with friends. I want to say this especially to the people of Ormond Beach. You've been very gracious at sharing with me. One of the things that I do, and one of the ways I know some things that I know about people who stand up straight, is because if I saw someone standing up straight and if I could get to them, I spoke to them. And I would have to walk up to people who don't know me, have no reason to be nice, and then ask them if I could talk to them. And I'll be perfectly honest, the people of Ormond Beach have been very gracious. Daytona area, Ormond Beach. I will catch you, I've caught people in stores, where you're getting gas. I've caught them in grocery stores. I've caught them walking down the mall. Wherever I can see someone who is impressing me about how they carry their body, I want to know why. And for that reason, I can share with you. Like, I know that some people start getting their posture right without anybody teaching them, because they figure out if they get their body in a certain position, they stop hurting. They just stop hurting. And so when I ask them why, they say it hurts not to. I remember the first young man who told me that. He was a biker, and he was one of those bikers events that they have in Ormond Beach. And he was a handsome young man. I was a little hesitant to go to him because I didn't want him to think maybe I was somehow being, I don't know, inappropriate. But I want to ask you about your body. You know what I mean? I'm looking at this body, and it's standing out. And I'm walking through fields of people. Everybody's out there with their biking jackets, and they all talking. And now I got to cut into your conversation with your buddies to ask you if I can talk to you. And what he told me, and that was early in my education, and I've heard it a lot. What he told me was, he rode his bike like that, he stood like that, and he sat like that because he found out if he did that, he didn't hurt. He was early into his knowledge of how to handle himself, and I asked him if he didn't, how fast would he go back into pain? And at that time, it was instant. And so he told me without a doubt that pain is instructive. Coming out of pain, if you know what I know, and you're in back pain, or you know someone who's in back pain, and they know what he knew, what I'm teaching. He knew it from his own experience. He and others have told me that the way out of pain is to erect their body, right? Your body will give you that positive feedback. That feels good. And then all you do is, it's about a habit. You're trying to make a habit of this. That's what I'm trying to do. That's would be the difference in my carriage. And another person, my age, carriage. I know to do this. I'm now trying to make everybody know to do this. I'm trying to leave it. They say if you leave something on the website, you can't get rid of it. Good. This is the reason I'm struggling. Let me tell you, baby, this is a struggle for an old lady to get this on. To produce this is a struggle. But it's been fun, and I'm really joyous. And thank you for coming. Send a friend. Spread the news. Take care of yourself. Don't hurt yourself. If it hurts, don't do it. I'm not at the point right now where I'm going to be reading everything you write me. At the same time, I would like for you to do what you know to do, share in ways that you know how to share. I've never been a part of anything like that, so I don't know. But share it, and because this is knowledge that I'm trying to leave behind. I'm 80, and I'm thinking about what I'm leaving behind, and what I want to leave behind is free access to this type of knowledge about the body. This is how an orthodontist would straighten a body using exercise. Orthodontist yoga teacher, And I also think of myself as like a scientist, because there's a lot of science that's going to come out of this. There's a lot of science in this. These muscles that you use are unique. These muscles need to be trained. This is an exercise system that trains postural muscles, type 1. And I don't mean endurance. This is not the same as endurance. Endurance is how long can you walk? That's what I say endurance is. How long can you run? How many flights of stairs can you do? That's your endurance. That's a whole different modification. This one is, can you just defy gravity and hold your body erect? Have you made yourself responsible for that job? Because gravity is here testing you. Okay. Thank you.